Good morning, y'all. We are doing things a little bit differently, and we will be posting this to YouTube and then Facebook too. And Miss Vicki is here. It is not Bible Lady Day. It is my fun friend Cornbread and Buttermilk Day.
There you go.
So today's going to be a wild and crazy day. I'm going to be a little crusty, and you're going to be a little bitter. Yeah, we've had some things going on lately, and I had to calm myself sitting in the car before I got out of the car when I came in the building today, because of some things going on in Washington, D.C., and I might have made a statement that it's a good thing I'm not filthy rich, because I'd be in Washington protesting. I'd probably be in jail in D.C. and somebody be after me. We spent some time with some beautiful ladies, Diamond and Silk, that we really, really love, and they were having an event at Trump Hotel in D.C., and it kind of got it on our mind. And I've never been to D.C. I've always wanted to go. You've actually toured the White House. I
actually toured the West Wing. And
well,
put my foot into the Oval Office.
Yay, how cool is that? I really want to go to D.C. And somebody told me that you could get on a train in Gainesville, Georgia, and you can do the train trip to D.C. Did you know that?
I did not know
yes,
that.
You did.
No.
You did not. And you can get yourself, what do they call those cars that have the beds, sleeping berths? Is that what you call it? So it's something for us to think about.
That is, yeah.
Good morning, y'all. I'm going to really confuse you. Today is Paul Kiker's day, but Paul Kiker had a meeting he needed to be in, so we love him, we miss him. But from that came my next best financial, spiritual, funny, crazy, keeps me going when I can't get going friend. So Vicki's here. You're taking Paul Kiker's place. Nobody can take Paul Kiker's place.
I look just like him.
Yeah. But today, we're not doing the Bible Lady thing. We're going to do a little cornbread and buttermilk, because a lot of things going on that are making us a little wild and crazy. And so cornbread and buttermilk with us means I'm a little crusty and she's a little bitter. Yeah. And it's because of some things that have happened. You know, if things happen in your life that you're just like, why did that happen to me? Well, we're finding we just got to suck it up and deal with it. You know?
And it doesn't even necessarily have to happen to you. It can happen to other people.
Exactly.
And you see it happen.
And you're like, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. We spent some time with Diamond and Silk, and love them. Super great ladies from North Carolina. They are fantastic, and they have had some issues with possibly being shut down because of their views. That's kind of crazy. If they can keep the view on the air and not shut that mess down, why would they take Diamond and Silk down like they have in different arenas?
Well, it is a fact. This is not an opinion. This is not speculation. It is a fact that Facebook, YouTube, and the major network news organizations. Now, the news organizations are owned by 6 corporations, which boil down to basically 6 billionaires who more or less allow or disallow certain content. Fox is the only news organization that I'm aware of.
And I might say that the ratings for the State of the Union address, Fox had the highest ratings of anybody. The rest of them came in low, because they knew that they would not give a correct picture of what we were seeing.
Well, again, even Fox is not like a pure conservative.
No.
And when
no, and let me just say, it's because Brother Juan Williams is there. He drives me nuts.
Well, they have tried, I believe.
To rein him in?
No. No. But from viewing the different news sources, now this is a fact.
Everybody has different opinions.
Well,
and
no,
I understand that.
But see, here's the problem. And this has been public knowledge for a long time. This is not news. I'm sure you've even heard it before. 85 to 90% of people in the news business
are liberal.
Are liberals.
Yes, we're not.
We're not.
I don't know if y'all noticed it, but we're not.
It leaves a very small percentage of conservative viewpoints. And so that just by osmosis is going to be mostly what you hear as the liberal viewpoint, not the conservative.
Maybe that's why I've been so cranky lately. I've been watching a little bit
Well,
of
see,
that.
when Rupert Murdoch first started Fox News, he knew he had a gold mine if he catered more or less to the conservative mindset, he was going to be successful because there were conservatives desperate for a conservative viewpoint that matches their own. And like I said, those 6 corporations are owned basically, that do provide the news, are owned by billionaires who are, even Rupert Murdoch, he's no conservative, but he used the conservative line of thought as a moneymaker and was very successful at it. Well, he has retired, and now his 2 sons, who are very liberal, you can see things changing a bit on Fox. They're still more conservative than the other networks and the other channels. And then, of course, Mark Zuckerberg, who owns Facebook, extremely, not just liberal,
and
but
a
left.
new book just came out that I'm going to buy, and it's written about Zuckerberg. And as much as I love Facebook, and I do love Facebook, I use it constantly all the time. It's my way to keep in touch with y'all. It's my way to share pictures with my sister. It's my way to get the video out of our little baby Riker. We love Facebook, but today I was very alarmed to know that Facebook has more users than there are Christians in the world. That is scary because that's a control thing.
What's scary, there you go, that is what's scary, is because content is being controlled. There are conservative people on Facebook who are getting blocked. There are conservative people on YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube videos.
22. I can tell you every Cadillac in the world, every brand, and every
Looking at
model.
Cadillacs last night,
And
thinking, "Gee,
Lincoln
those are nice."
Continentals
Yeah.
from the 60s, and I can tell you all about it. I love them old cars.
But it's
Yeah.
not. If you use your deductive reasoning skills and think about what is possible if you have speech impeded, not free speech. Again, the content on social media, YouTube, all of these different, I guess you'd call them platforms, whatever, internet platforms, it's still overwhelmingly liberal and even left. But even though they have the advantage, they want more advantage, and they are shutting down conservative voices. And I follow a couple of people that on YouTube you can be monetized. If they don't like you, they'll take away your monetization, and you can't make money. Like, the people who drink bleach and set themselves on fire and stuff like that for entertainment, they
Crazy.
get paid really well through the
They're
advertisers.
stupid. Yeah.
But if they don't like you and they find that you don't meet their community standards, they demonetize you, and in some cases even take you off completely. And I've never been on Twitter. I don't anticipate joining Twitter, but it's the same thing there. And because they are privately owned, they feel like, well, we can shut you down if we want to. But there's a whole lot of legal precedent, etc., that the FCC and
does
others.
free speech not go into that? Like, I can freely say, I'm a Christian, I support the law of the land, I support my right to,
Well,
can you stop our free speech
the
at that point?
Constitution was written to control the government, not to control private enterprise. Now, we're not aware of that because government has been controlling private enterprise for so long in a lot of ways unconstitutionally. And because people don't know the Constitution and what it's supposed to do.
Speaking of somebody who didn't know the Constitution, who really should have stayed in New York, and her name just, AOC is what she is now known as, and it blows my mind that this woman is now earning $174,000 a year, and she did not know the Constitution enough to know that we do have the right to bear arms. She had no idea.
Well, there have been a couple of, the girl is what, 29 years old? So a lot of it is just youthful ignorance. Here's what I have learned is when you tell people something they want to hear, they listen to you.
And evidently people in her district want to hear that you're going to get free education, free medical, free this on the back of the working Americans, which means in so many years, now in 8 months, we would be completely broke. So I'm not going to tell you all that stuff because we can't afford it. We can't do it.
And many people still believe, and it doesn't matter how many, because I have had conversations.
I'm on Medicare.
After Medicare.
You're not old
after
enough.
Medicare.
Yeah, you're not old enough, but I know that Medicare is a good thing for me.
But you paid for it.
and I don't want to share it with a bunch of freeloaders.
You
End of
paid for
story.
it through your contributions from
Exactly.
your paycheck, just as you
For
paid
all
for
the
your
many hundreds of
Social
years I've
Security,
worked.
retirement.
Yes, yes.
And that is
I don't want to
paid
give it to the
for.
freeloaders. I'm
It is,
sorry.
it is
Mm-mm,
not. They
mm-mm.
call it an entitlement. Well, I guess that's a good word, because yes, ma'am,
I'm entitled to
we
it.
are entitled to
Yep.
it because we
Yep.
bought it and
You
we
will be
paid
in
for
about
it.
14 years. No.
I think it's 15 years.
Yeah.
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 But anyway, all that to say, if you have a few years on you and a little bit of wisdom, you know things that work and don't work, because the math doesn't work. But the number one problem I see that people take out of the equation of our evolution of society is human nature. And the billionaires, they look at their billions the same way I look at my thousands or my hundreds. They're mine. And they do pay a disproportionately higher
Yes, they
amount
do.
of taxes
Yes, they do.
already. Even if we were all at the same tax level, they're paying more. But they're even paying at a higher level, so they pay even more. The top 1%.
I believe it's 45% they're paying now.
Exactly.
Yeah, and if you have $29 billion and you're paying 45% of that on taxes, you're helping us out a bunch.
But here's the thing, in the conversations that I have had, you know what I'm told by my friends who believe that socialism somehow, even though it's failed throughout history, could still work, is,
You know somebody who says that?
oh my God, yes.
Oh no!
Yes.
I don't know if we can be friends now. I'm scared. I'm kidding.
Well, and it's, like I said, I have given every fact, I have, provided every truth.
I cannot imagine
Do
if I
the
want
math,
socialism.
had the philosophical conversations. Oh yes, yes, because they believe if somebody has billions of dollars, they don't need all that, and they might as well give me some of it.
Oh, well.
And
Who won that big lottery in New York? Let's call them and tell them.
well,
Share
and
the wealth.
that's the thing. It's like, but it's not our money.
Right.
It's not ours. Now they're already paying a disproportionately high. The top 10% pay 50% of the taxes. 50% of people in the United States do not pay income tax at all,
Right.
after their deductions and their child tax care credit. And not to mention the news report that we saw about the illegal immigrants
Yeah.
receiving,
Yes.
they're fraudulently
Yes.
filing. Here's
Earned
what they're
income
doing.
credit
They
for all the
have-
children.
They
Yes.
have a tax identification, no, a taxpayer identification number, TIPN or something like that. They use this. The IRS knows they're here illegal. We know
But
you're
they still
illegal,
they
and
get
you
more
don't have
refund
a,
than I do.
and you don't have a social security number, but we're going to give you a taxpayer number so you can pay your taxes. And so they file these returns. They're illegal to begin with, and there is something called an additional child tax credit. These people are claiming, in one instance in that report, there were 4 different people, 4 different adults in the same little single wide trailer. Between the 4 of them, they claimed 20 children who live in Mexico. They're not even here. They live in Mexico. They're claiming them, number one, they're here illegally. They're claiming these children fraudulently. They make them up. And then between the 4 of them, they got over $30,000 in tax refunds.
Earned
So
income
number
credit.
one, they got, everybody says, but they provide, they're part of our tax base, they pay taxes. No, actually they don't. They're getting their
Write-offs.
tax money back, plus another, what is that?
That scared me. When I saw that, I kind of got scared.
$7,500 a piece?
I've
I would
seen
love to get a
I've seen
$7,500
checks for I've
refund.
seen the checks for as high as $9,100, and that was for a household that had 4 children in it, and that scared me. I was like, you got to be kidding me, because I said, boy, y'all must have paid in a bunch of taxes. No, and I was like, what?
Well, nobody's
so,
talking about this country's debt. We're 22
trillion?
going on $22 trillion in debt, and what the young people who, well, that's why we need those.
AOC.
That's why we need to tax 70% of the billionaire's wealth. And we've already been there, done that. We saw what
Stop
happened.
the economy dead. Dead in the water.
They leave. They can afford to move to another country, put their
Why,
money
Tina
in tax
Turner's a
shelters.
perfect example. She's now Swedish citizen. She's
Well,
no
and that's-
longer in America.
Exactly. They go
Because
and move.
why would you stay here and pay all those taxes?
Exactly. Yeah. And they, George Soros, our famous billionaire who funds the Open Society organization that's paying for all of the disruption that's going on in South America. Yes, he is. It's not, again, this is not opinion. This is fact. His Open Society organization is the one, they're paying the people, they're funding the people to do the caravans, to come up here. Mexico actually, I think, chartered some buses to bring them to the border. This is the rich.
Where is
are
he a
not,
citizen?
well, they ran him out of Hungary. He was Hungarian apparently, originally, but he's I believe a dual citizen here, and I don't remember the other country off the top of my head. But what
we don't want billionaires to leave and take their money.
You
We
know,
want-
they're talking about, but the billionaires can pay that money in taxes for the greater good. Guess what? They think they know what greater good is, and I agree with this. You know, I don't agree with George Soros, but they take their billions and they create nonprofit organizations, dump their billions. He just dumped 18 billion into the open borders thing. You know why he does that? To avoid paying taxes.
Wow.
And then he gets to use his money to do what he wants to do, which in my humble opinion is to start a lot of trouble. You know, he's famous for shorting currencies. He's called the man that almost broke the Bank of England, and it was a setup. I mean, when you get the mega wealthy messing in the stock markets and the currencies of small countries, or in the case of England, you know, big countries, they can do a lot of damage, and he did. And he's cost a lot of grandmas and grandpas their retirements.
Wow.
While he made billions, and these people are, you know, eating potatoes.
Well, as
every
I
day.
get older, I'm like my granny. I'm getting a bit scared because I want my Medicare to remain. I want to have my little pennies. I want to work as long as I can possibly work. I plan on working, you know, probably till I die, really. If I'm healthy, I want to work until I die. But I also want to get what is mine, and if they make it worldwide or whatever, national Medicare, there ain't gonna be nothing left for me, because in 8 months it's gonna be broke.
Okay, here's the thing. Number one, we can't afford it. We
No
can't
way, no
afford
way.
it. It's not financially feasible. You know, you have heard it over and over, sustainable.
AOC hadn't heard
It's-
those words.
Well, again, if it does not work.
I know.
There is not enough money, even if you taxed all of the United States billionaires at 100%, they don't have enough money to pay off our national debt. There's not enough of them. But the government keeps spending, and they keep promising and promising and promising. And when's the last time you ever heard of a government program being cut?
There's so many that need to be cut.
And
I could sit down with paper and pencil and I can wipe out half of the government programs right now that I've seen waste in. And I didn't used to be this way, but working where I did and taking those financial applications about ruined me, because I saw all these people that were as able as me, probably more able than me, to work, who were working part-time jobs, because if I get out of this tax bracket, I have to pay more taxes. And I said, well, don't you want to own a home? Don't you want to buy a nicer car? No. Yeah, but I don't want to lose my benefits. And I said, well, what benefits do you have? It blew my mind. I was like, are you kidding me?
well, and you know, people think that conservatives have no compassion for the poor, because they link illegal immigration. They're just poor. They just want to come here for a better life, and that, to the most degree, is exactly correct. But we cannot sustain the world's poor. And our country has been the most generous country in the history of this planet. We have given more financial aid and foreign aid to other countries. I mean, if you've been listening to the news, even this current budget, they have budgeted billions of dollars to send to South America, while South America and Honduras and Mexico in particular are, not only are they sending people to our borders, they're sending the weakest and the sickest. And it sounds really cold-hearted, but we don't have the money to treat all. I personally
because Medicaid is broke.
I do not have health insurance. I cannot afford the health insurance cost for what it would
It's
cost me.
because of her age, because she's not quite old enough to get the old lady stuff.
Well, not yet, and these hips have got to last till I'm 65 and get me some new ones. But you know that what people don't understand is there truly is no free lunch. Whatever you're getting from the government, unless it's Social Security
Somebody
or
else is
Medicare
paying for it.
that you have earned and paid for, somebody else is paying it for you. And I believe in social safety nets, but our social safety nets have grown to become unsustainable. We cannot put everybody on disability. I know, we all hear the stories, I won't go there, we know there are people that are fraudulently receiving disability, Social Security disability.
Yeah.
We cannot, one of the things is, well, illegal
And then we know
immigrants-
people who desperately need it. I had a blind, on dialysis kid that took me 2 years to get him Social Security because a lady said, he ain't been blind long enough. And I said, do what? I wanted to run across her desk and jerk her up. You know,
Well-
I'm like, that, it is discouraging when you know you deserve it, you can't get it, and you see these freeloaders again.
Well,
getting it.
here's my thing, and I know to me, this is not Democrat versus Republican.
No, absolutely not.
Maybe it is
It's right and
liberal
wrong,
versus
but
conservative.
it's right and wrong.
Exactly.
It's right and
It's
wrong.
right and wrong because the Ten Commandments say, "Thou shalt not steal."
Mhm.
And I don't care if he's a billionaire and he doesn't need all those billions; it's still his, and we're not supposed to go steal it from him. And passing tax laws to make it legal, you know, things can be legal and still be immoral and wrong in God's eyes. But the whole, in particular, caring for the poor, et cetera, we don't have the money to take care of our own. And
Right.
we keep borrowing money to try to take care of everybody. And in a lot of instances, it is to buy votes. But I know that my friends who are Democrats, I know these people. I know that they have good hearts. They are deeply compassionate, and they want to help the poor. But in my humble opinion, they either don't have enough information, or they do not have the ability to comprehend the facts of when you push that first domino, another domino falls, and then another domino falls, and at the end of that line of dominoes is somebody eating peanut butter and jelly because they can't afford the bologna. You know, it really gets to that point. And the people that are eating the peanut butter and jelly, they're sick and tired of eating peanut butter and jelly. They see all of the, you know, with all of our social media, with television, they see the good life. They just want to enjoy some good life too.
Yeah.
And they are so, you know, I don't want to say desperate, but they're to a point where they don't care anymore. I don't care if it's right or wrong. I just want me some stuff. I just want to be happy. I just want to vote.
You know, my grandmother, and everybody's heard the story about my granny and what she lived on, whatever, because my grandfather was stricken with MS so young, they didn't have Social Security benefits for them to fall back on. So they got SSI, which is Social Supplemental Income. That comes out of somebody's pocket too, but thank you, Jesus, that my grandmother was able to get $105 a month for them to live on. That's what they lived on. That's the only program. But that's the only program they ever got. And then she found out she could go to Grady Hospital in Atlanta and stand in line for 8 hours and get their prescriptions for 50 cents. There are people who watch us every single day who cannot afford their prescriptions because the drug companies have lobbyists who go to Congress, go to the Senate. They talk you into doing the things we're doing and paying. People can't even afford their insulin anymore.
Well, here's
can't even afford insulin.
Again, and this is one of those things that a lot of people hear it and they're like, that can't be accurate. But this is the facts. Everybody says, well, socialism works in Sweden. They have socialized medicine in Canada. They have socialized medicine.
And you wait 11 months to see a doctor?
Well, there's a whole list of things that are not good about socialized medicine, but everybody focuses on the free. But here's what's been going on with our prescription drugs. the people in the United States have been subsidizing the social, medical programs in other countries by paying unbelievably higher prices for our drugs. They can sell them to the countries with social medical, whatever you want to call it, social medical, what do they call it? Medicare?
I don't know what they call it.
Socialized medical care. Those countries, the only reason they're able to afford it, and they're not affording it either. All these countries, nobody's hearing this because they don't search out the truth and they don't do the deep dives to get the real news. They're going broke. They are killing grandma and letting her die. They're killing the babies rather than, little Jude in the NICU. Nah, he would not have been a candidate.
Right.
Because the people of the United States, the more I learn, I told you the other day, I'm going to go back to being uninformed because it's just too maddening to know stuff.
See why she's a little bitter?
Yeah, it's like, you got to be kidding me. The people of the United States have been subsidizing socialized medicine in other countries forever.
Yeah.
And
it's crazy.
it is not sustainable because now we're almost $22 trillion in debt. And what is it? We have 2 more years. Well, when the Fed raises interest rates, that raises our country's interest rates on that $22 trillion.
Right.
And it's going to go from 0 to 1%. What is 1% of $22 trillion?
A bunch.
And who they going to get that from to pay that interest payment?
They'll send us a bill, and we can just send what we can as we can. Well, we've got to pay a bill, and that means that we have to do commercial breaks. So we're going to do some commercial breaks, but I wish I could remember all the birthdays that I wanted to tell y'all today, but I did remember 3. Lucy Harris, happy birthday. We love you, we love you, we love you. Miss Rena Kirk, happy birthday. And Miss Vicki Lawson, who is just a super lady who helps.
Lawson?
Yes, it is. She helps with the meal that precious meal that happens once a year for shut-ins, for widows, widowers, that Bob Reese is responsible for. Just a fantastic idea of giving and doing for others. And I want to share one more thing with y'all about giving and doing for others, and I want you to become part of this, and I'm going to become part of this. For $11 a month, we're going to send $11 a month to Tunnels to Towers. This was started when an NYPD cop lost his life on 9/11, and his brother started this foundation. The mortgage for, I'm getting cold chills thinking about this, the young policeman who was killed on Christmas by the illegal alien. He had a 5-month-old baby. Today, this morning, his mortgage was paid off because people sending $11 a month have sent enough money to Tunnels to Towers. And research it, look at it. They also did so well with this young man. This was a young man who was a legal immigrant who came to this country the right way, became a police officer, was the best of the best, was killed by an illegal immigrant day after Christmas.
That was Officer Singh, right?
Officer Singh, and today his mortgage is paid off, and his child has $50,000 toward his education.
Not a government program.
Not a government program, because people like me and you are going to do this. It's $11 a month. That means one less trip to a drive-through restaurant is all it matters.
And you know who overwhelmingly sends in that $11 a month? The peanut butter and jelly sandwich eaters.
Yes, because they care. So research it, Tunnels to Towers, become a part of it. I'm going to become a part of it. I think we need to help people we can help, and quit breaking the back of others, because we're breaking the back of others, and we're doing it by being greedy and stupid and whatever else we're doing to blow it up.
I would love to have $1 billion, but I'm not going to go steal it from somebody.
No, you can't take something that's not yours. And don't forget our sponsors, please. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. We're also going to share a recipe with y'all. This is Angela and I and my buddy Cooter Noland. Cooter used to take a medicine that one pill was over $400. One pill was over $400, and this was a new medicine when it was in experimental stages, but she desperately needed it, and it was $400. Imagine having to do with that or do without that. So you're going to see a program that we did. This is a great recipe for you to try with your kids. If your kids and grandkids come over on Valentine's Day, This is homemade ice cream that we make in a little Ziploc bag very quickly. So sit back and write down how you do this and do it with your kids. It's a lot of fun. We'll be back shortly. Now for you guys that we're watching, we're doing what we're doing today because we're going to do it on YouTube and put it on Facebook too. There are people out there who can help each other, and you know, we want to help somebody who's doing good. I research people before I make a donation because I'm not going to donate to somebody who gives 80% of the money to their administration cost.
Right,
I'm not going to do that, so I'm very cautious about it. But Tunnels to Towers really, really just touched my heart, and to see, you know, 9/11 was a long time ago, but he started this foundation, and he was talking about how many homes have been paid off, how many police officers have lost their lives, and they choose police officers who lose their lives, and there are two groups of people that he chooses from, and it's precious, you know, and it's $11 a month.
Well, and it may have been a long time ago, but in a lot of instances, people are just now getting sick.
Exactly.
The cancers are popping up, the lung problems, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, Paul shared that with us when he was with us, because so many people are dying today from something that happened 18 years ago. 18 years ago. You know how many kids weren't even born on 9/11?
Really?
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? And we know a little boy that was born 9/11 this year.
That's right.
Last year, and we have to say a get well prayer for his other granny. His Gigi Bear is very, very sick. She was at Northside Hospital. I don't know if it's full-blown flu, if it's the worst kind of flu, not sure. But please say a prayer for Miss Yvonne, because she's Riker's caretaker when Mama works, and this nanny's not keeping him. So we kind of split up our care duties with this baby, and what a joy to be able to do that. Just, you know, just to share time with him and to spend time with him. And we're also sharing a recipe that this is so much fun, and I can't remember how I came up with this recipe, but it's when I was working with Scotty Mayfield, was one of my sponsors in Atlanta, and excuse me, we used Mayfield milk, and we put sugar, vanilla flavoring, and Mayfield milk in a Ziploc bag, just a small amount. Each child in the classroom has their milk conglomerate, and then we took another Ziploc bag, bigger, and filled it with ice, and then put the bag down in there, and then you just flip it over and over and over, and in about 15 minutes the kid has enough ice cream for themselves.
Now,
and it's a fun project for kids.
So you add what to the milk?
You put Mayfield milk, vanilla, and sugar. So the three ingredients, and you stir it up, and then you put that Ziploc bag, and make sure your bag Ziploc's good.
And it's just regular ice, not dry ice?
Nope.
What about rock salt?
Nope, you put rock salt in it too. You put the ice and the rock salt, and then you drop your bag of your milk conglomeration in it, and you just flip it over and over. We sat the kids down at their desk with a newspaper in front of them, because it'll sweat a little bit, and they just kept flipping it and
Well, I'm
flipping
going to
it.
remember this, because you know my
It's
rule
so much
is
fun.
I can't buy ice cream. You know, my thing.
Because she'll eat it.
You can't buy. Yeah, if you want it bad enough, you gotta cook it, make it, fix it. I can do that. I can flip that.
Yeah.
I don't have any rock salt.
And if you don't have, shame on you, if you don't have Mayfield milk in the house, you can use carnation milk. You can use carnation milk, and you know, yesterday when I was telling you about the syrup, the white syrup, when I had babies 100 years ago, see how we're making it on TV now? When I had babies 100 years ago, you would do a can of evaporated milk, 1 can of water, and then a tablespoon of that syrup. And that's how we made formula. Before they came up with all these formulas that cost us a fortune.
That's not enough sugar.
That's not enough sugar. You are so funny. But see how much milk is in it? And that's just enough for a child to have a serving.
That's like 8 ounces, right?
Well, it's about 4, I think. Yeah. It's not quite.
Is the cup an 8-ounce cup, and that's half the 8-ounce cup? I see.
Yeah, but it is so cool. It is so cool.
Nice.
And we did this years ago, and the kids just absolutely loved it. So I'll try to post this on my Facebook page. And for y'all who watch on YouTube, it's Sherry, Cherie Dobbs Martin on Facebook. And I have a lot of my recipes on there. I try to do things that are simple and fun. And a lot of stuff you can do with your kids. Because there's something about getting a kid in a kitchen, if you make them think it's fun, Then when it's time to wash the dishes, maybe they'll think that's fun too.
So, okay, this
Now
one
watch
is
the
vanilla,
kids. Yeah, it's got vanilla, sugar, and milk.
but you could use another flavor, I guess?
I don't think so.
No?
We didn't try that. Now, I don't know. You could add chocolate syrup to it, I guess, if you wanted to, you know.
Well, see, I can't
drizzle
have
some-
chocolate syrup in the house either. 'cause
Drizzle
I
over it.
Squeeze it out.
But now watch how we made Angela do this. And in just about 10 or 15 minutes, see how you do it? Is that not cool? And number one, it's a good way to keep your kids busy and quiet for 15
Yeah,
minutes.
well, and people who are busy, they have to have, just sit there
Yeah,
and flip.
make your own ice cream. So isn't that cool? And see how it's amazing.
Now, where
Yeah.
were you? You were in a classroom.
We were in a classroom. We were in a classroom. It was a science class. And this is actually one of the schools where we went and talked to kids about drugs too. We tried to, used to visit the kids a lot at schools, and it was interesting to see how, give them something to do and they get involved in it. You know, if you try to talk to them, it's not so much, but if you give them something to do while you're there, it makes a difference. So.
Yeah. My older son did a little stint one summer as, what was it, like the mad scientist. You get paid to go to schools, and it's almost like having your own little mad scientist franchise kind of thing. He didn't do it for very long, but the kids loved it, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
They were involved in whatever was going on.
Yeah.
It was not
And
just
it
a
makes
show.
the kids really pay attention. Now see, isn't she eating it now?
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
really yummy. Yeah. And it took just a matter of 15 minutes. So here we go. Yay. Y'all will have to definitely try this recipe because it is so good. And it is so simple. It's Mayfield milk and then a little bit of flavoring and a little bit of sugar. And I don't know. I don't remember if we used 2% or whole milk. Seems like we used whole milk. I don't remember. But probably whole milk would be
Just
really good
get
for
the
ice cream.
whole milk. Live your life. Buy whole milk.
Oh, or get some buttermilk, be a little bit bitter. So there you go. There you go. You know, when we think about the things that are going on in the world around us, we saw one of my cousins yesterday, and we were talking about the fact that my family is loaded with people with Alzheimer's. Sadly, they all live to be old, though, which is kind of hopeful to me because my grandmother was 89. She was about 85 when she started forgetting and not remembering, and so it's important to me to stay active. And we were talking about staying active and staying, what does Freddie call it? I don't want you to lose your independence. That's what he says. And it's like, you know, you want to stay kind of on a pattern of, okay, I'm going to get up, I'm going to make up my bed, I'm going to fix breakfast, I'm going to wash the dishes. You want to keep doing things. You don't want to sit down and give up. And we see sometimes people do sit down and give up. But we're going to share a recipe with y'all now that is Mama Lucy, and all of you who watched Heart of the Home when we were in Atlanta and in Greenville and Birmingham, you remember Mama Lucy. She was my sidekick. She was a sweetheart. She now has full-blown Alzheimer's, and it breaks my heart because she could come up with the most creative, fantastic, simple things to do for little events. And so she came up with this gumbo recipe, and I don't know how she found out how you do the okra so it doesn't get slimy, because you know okra gets slimy. And we made gumbo. She made the best gumbo. It was so good. And now I sent her a Christmas card to her address, and it came back because she's now in a nursing home down in Woodstock. And that Alzheimer's just, Dad blast it, you know? It's bad stuff and it's bad news. So if you're finding yourself sitting around too much, not communicating with other people, not visiting with other people, not going out to eat with other people, don't do that.
Well, if someone truly has Alzheimer's,
And you know that firsthand.
and you know that they may not be officially diagnosed, but you know something's going on. Something that was very difficult with Mother and with Mr. Holyfield, because he had it much worse than Mother ever developed hers. You cannot exercise their brain, because her sister, who was an MD, would send her books and say, read this book and exercise your brain, and that will help you maintain your mental capacity and stave off the Alzheimer's. And it doesn't work that way.
No.
And I think people can get false hope that if I do this, Mom do this, and they really truly can't.
That's scary.
When they have Alzheimer's, and I told you before, Don, my husband, struggled with that because his mother and dad, very smart people. His mom was a school teacher, always, the grammar police, and she's just smart and so knowledgeable. He thought, well, she's messing with me, and they're not. It's so my only caveat to that would be. Yeah, if it's you, of course, we need to keep our minds stimulated and stay active. But if you have a loved one and they truly have Alzheimer's, buying them that book, buy them the book by all means. But if they can't read it, and some days they can and some days they can't. Even today at 99 years old in advanced Alzheimer's, 99% of the time, mother cannot read, she cannot, function normally. But then one day she can.
That is so strange.
It is a very strange.
Yeah, it is strange. But keep yourself active, and if you can reach out, if you see some of your neighbors who, are slipping away and can't think straight, and I'm one of these, I can't remember names. And so I will get in the car with her and I'll say, look, I just saw this and da-da-da, and I'll describe the person. And she'll say, well, what's their name? Well, I didn't get their name, I didn't pay attention, didn't look, don't know. But most of the time you know who it is, and it drives me nuts because I can't remember names anymore, and it worries me. But I said, I just think my brain's got so much in there ain't nowhere to put nothing else.
Prevagen.
That's exactly what it is. I wrote it down last night.
Did you?
I wrote it down last night. So, and it says it's
I
going to help
remember.
you. Yes, yeah. But it is hard when we can't remember something and we forget. But I can describe people to a T. I just can't remember names sometimes, and it is a bit scary.
Oh, like this morning, that girl from the South with the long hair.
Yeah, I was describing to
Oh,
Vicki
yeah,
somebody
I know,
I'd seen,
yeah,
and
that
I said,
chick,
oh yeah,
yeah.
you'll know. I said, she's Southern, and I said, she says, bless your heart, so you know she's Southern. She got long hair, got bangs, and I'm describing her to a T. I have no idea what this woman's name is. So, but today, in honor of people we love, we're going to share a couple of things. So we're going to share a DVD with Mama Lucy. Then we're going to come back and we're going to share some music and some pictures of some folks that I love, because Valentine's Day is coming around, and it doesn't have to be your sweetheart. It can be your friends, your neighbors, your acquaintances. It can be your dog or your cat.
Your cat.
So we're going to share a little love for a few minutes. So y'all, let's go to Mama Lucy and Gumbo. Now for y'all who are watching us on YouTube, let me tell you about this precious lady. We traveled to Alaska with a crew, a big crew, and we did 5 TV shows in Alaska. We won a total of like 21 Telly Awards. We had so much fun. We had a blast. We get up there, and Mama Lucy is like she was probably 70, I guess, when we went to Alaska, and she's very organized, very with it, da-da-da-da-da. And she comes out and she's got these scallops that came out of the bay in Alaska, and they look like chicken legs. They're so big. And she says, let's wrap them in bacon and broil them. And I said, okay, let's try that. She always came up with some great ways of presentation. That was her thing. She liked to have a beautiful dish, and she liked to present it beautifully. You know, it wasn't just cook the fish and put it on the plate. It was presentation. And I love that about her. And it was always get a really cool dish. And you do that. You know, you like to do the pretty dishes. And
You know who liked to do that?
Who?
Don.
Really?
He did.
That is wild.
Mm-hmm.
That is wild.
Really the only thing he could cook well was breakfast. But he always made it a presentation.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, Lucy loved to do that, and she would tickle me. She would say, well, do you not have any green? No. And she'd go out in the yard and she'd pick something, you know, and just put it on the plate. And I'm like, okay, who would have thought of that? Who would have thought of that? But it's all about giving of yourself, and she gave so much of herself in just little things, you know, just little treasures, little tidbits, little things that she taught me. And then this morning I found a picture of Doreen Lee, who, man, she taught me so much about how you treat people, and how, when I first met her, I was a little bit defensive because she was coming into the kitchen where I was like the big cheese on getting desserts done, and I was, you know, and here comes this woman that's going to teach me how to cook. And I'm like, you're from Kankakee, Illinois. You can't teach me how to cook. And
Do you even know what a tater is?
Yeah, she said, well, do you use peanut oil? And I said, well, heck no, nobody in the South does either. Well, they do now. You know, they do now. But those two women, one of them battled cancer several times. She was in her 90s, like 94 when she passed away. but gave every single day of her life and was always giving back. And I said, we learn from people like that, and those are the true loves of our life. You know, you gotta love, and you got a husband, and you got kids, but you got these people that really make a difference in your life. And she did with me, and I said, after seeing your mother-in-law's china that she painted, I just love this lady. I've never met her, and I just love her talent, because she created the most beautiful gift you'll ever have. You can't go buy anything like that.
And I wish you had known her, because the stories that she told about growing up in the wilds of Wisconsin.
With a communist father. A communist father in the United States, yeah.
And that's why she was vehemently anti-socialism and anti-communist. But she got married in 1944 and told the stories of her and Mr. Holyfield meeting during that, you know, the Bing Crosby movies that we watched, you know, in reruns growing up. And just, but to tie that whole, you know, the cooking thing with the peanut oil. Related to Alzheimer's.
Wow.
Fat is essential for the human brain.
Yeah. And
we spent all these years.
So not to use peanut oil? To use something
well,
that gives you grease?
Peanuts, well, they'll tell you high fat like coconut oil, olive oil, not canola, not sunflower, all the oils we were told
that we fought
use
against.
These,
wow.
Not margarine, because I think you heard the story.
I use butter.
Well, and
I
you
use
should
butter.
use
I use
butter.
real butter.
Drink
all
the whole
time.
milk. Seriously, you know, I was joking, but the new science has found we've been depriving our brains of essential fat, which plays a part in why plaque builds up on the brain and causes Alzheimer's.
Well, a few years ago, I was doing low fat, and my skin was in trouble, and my hair was falling out, my nails were coming off. And my beautician said, you're not getting enough fat. And I said, well, I don't look like I'm missing any fat.
Yeah.
But your body does need certain nutrients. And you don't think about that. Because I was doing this weight loss clinic, and we were counting calories and counting fats and all this, and I was getting nothing that was good for my body. And, you know, lost a little weight, but it made me feel bad.
Well, anybody that has the time to do some research, and research is so easy on the internet these days, go to some of these, you know, I call them health food nuts, but, you know, the naturalists, like, well, Dr. McCullough is the one that I read his stuff a lot, but there are several like him. And you have to be careful, because they're selling supplements. And so they're going to be, you know, sometimes I think a little bit out of balance. But it's not just the natural health guys, it's the science, the white papers, the clinical studies. The cardiologists have written the correlation between high cholesterol and heart disease does not exist. But doctors are still prescribing statins to lower cholesterol, and that's not to say that cholesterol of 500 is a good thing. But we've been with the pharmaceuticals, a lot of times you fix one thing and you mess up 4 other things.
Well, I knew that because I was on steroids for all the years, gained a whole lot of weight, and honestly, I eat pretty healthy, don't I?
Yeah,
I mean, yesterday, I will say I sinned grossly.
Because I made you.
It was
my
such, it was the,
fault. I was a bad
it was such a good sin though.
It was.
I had a Sherry Martin Blizzard yesterday.
Don't tell them what
First
I had.
one I've had in a long time. But it was so good. It was so good. And every once in a while, you gotta spoil yourself. You gotta, you gotta spread the love.
The number one thing, and you know this, that feeds cancer is sugar. And I am a sugarholic. Sugar is addictive, just like heroin is, just like nicotine is. And it's a hard thing to let go of, because it's if you eat processed foods, I mean, you could buy a box of, I don't know, or a can of SpaghettiOs full of sugar, ketchup full of sugar. They add it to everything because it tastes good. And
sure it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
But,
now, Caleb, can we go to the DVD now with the music and the pictures, please? Okay, after the commercial. For you guys who are watching us on Facebook or on YouTube, when I think about all the years that I've been allowed to do television and how much fun I've had, and the guests and the things and the great recipes, so many of y'all have shared recipes with me, And I laugh because sometimes y'all would send me a recipe and I would try it and think, well, they've left something out. But no, you didn't. Your recipes were always right. A recipe that always makes me smile and then makes me wonder, when would I make one of those? Miss Helen Berger sent me the recipe for a prune cake. Now, my Aunt Leela used to make a prune cake, and it uses baby food jars of prunes. Do you remember baby food jars of prunes? Okay. I do, because I don't know how to say this nicely, but when I was a young adult, I didn't have great eating habits, and I might have to eat those occasionally.
Oh.
So they're good for you, but the baby food jars of prunes go in this cake. And I kept saying, when would you make one of those? And would you warn people that they're eating a prune cake? But this is an old, yummy recipe. But it has prunes in it. So you're serving, you know, our digestive system is very important.
Constitution.
Yeah. It's very important that we take care of that. But I think about, you know, a lot of times we go to events in Ball Ground and we all take a recipe and we take something we really, really love. And so I thought one day I might show up with the prune cake. And I thought, that's not nice.
In our group, that might
work
be
for
a
us.
good
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And right now, the things that we're showing on TV right now are pictures of our precious, precious Bells of Ball Ground. We're going to do an event the Friday before Mother's Day. And it is honoring the Bells of Ball Ground, but it's going to be at our office in downtown Ball Ground, and it is for all mothers. Bring your mother, bring your daughter, bring your aunt, bring your sister. It's Mother's Day weekend, and we just want to do a little something. And Vicki and I did a little shopping yesterday for goodies that we're going to be giving away. We're going to have some drawings, and we're actually going to give away another print, and we're going to do some fun stuff. Because Miss Ashley, who is in our office, said every time I see one of y'all's events, I want to come. I want to be at the tea party. And so we decided we just have a tea party and welcome all of y'all. So our office is in downtown Ball Ground. It's right in the center of town. It's a great location. You can come early, go shop, go visit a lot of people. We'll have yummies, goodies. We'll have some gifts. It will be a fun day. And we're going to do it from 11:30 to 1:30. And Miss Ashley, who is a fantastic decorator,
really is.
She is great. She needs to own a florist.
Yeah.
She's going to decorate and have all kinds of things to make it look very special for you. She's going to bring her grandmother's silver tray and silver tea service. And we're just going to have a fun day honoring you, because the Bells of Ball Ground matter. You know, those ladies are very important to us. And when we think about loving somebody, we love them tremendously.
And we're not only Cornbread and Buttermilk, we're ding dong and ding-a-ling.
That's right. When it comes to the Bells of Ball Ground, we're the two ding-a-lings. But it is about people who matter to you. And you know, Paula is, we can just say it, Paula's almost 76 years old. And we want to keep Paula forever, but we want to honor them. And so on Friday before Mother's Day at our office from 11:30 to 1:30 right downtown Ball Ground, we're just going to have a fun event for women to come, and it's just a day I think we need to do. I think we need to say thank you for being in our lives, for supporting us, for helping us. The first day you walked in, you had been in grief share and dealing with a whole lot of stuff, and these ladies have made a difference in your life.
They sure have. Jenny and Paula, yeah, they were.
And when you see the pictures we're showing now, we might be at Vicky's house eating a lot. We might cook and eat at Vicky's a lot. And then we love, you know, you live next door to the Botanical Gardens. You live in an area, and we have to say, Ball Ground is getting new sidewalks.
Yeah, right in my front yard.
So if you want to live in a walking community, Ball Ground is becoming the walking community. They're putting sidewalks from down where you get off 515 behind the Chevron all the way to town. Is that right?
That's correct.
And so basically once they do that and you get into town, it basically does the whole loop.
When Dawn and I first bought our office, which is now my home, we saw a presentation that the city did on their master plan for the future. And I know things went off course during the Depression for a while, but it seems like they're sticking to that plan, and it's going to be wonderful. Yeah. It will be. Yeah. But you got to be a city girl.
Got to be a city girl. So if you want to be a city girl, pick up the phone and call me, and I would love to sell you a house in Ball Ground. And the newest venture that the city is doing is a huge walking park.
That's right, yeah.
A huge, massive walking park at the top and down the hill, which was Roberts Dam, where electricity used to come for ball ground. It's going to be fantastic. And it's going to be a big to-do. It's going to take a while to do it. I have no
50
idea.
acres, I believe, right?
Is it 50? I thought it was 500. Maybe I can't read. Oh, well, it's 50.
It's not an aging vision thing.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's 50.
50, okay. Well, all around it, there will be housing and communities and Calvin Farmer Park. It's just going to be a great place to live. So if you want to live in
Well,
Ball
Calvin
Ground,
Farmer Park is already great.
it is.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic, and it's part of what is cool about downtown living. You know, it's just everything's reachable. But we need about 500 more y'all to move to Ball Ground, so we can kind of up our ante and get us a grocery store.
We need a grocery store.
We need a
Yeah,
grocery store.
we do.
That's the one thing we're missing. But Eric does a fantastic job running the city, managing the city. Rick is all into bringing, bring the good stuff. That's what he says. Bring me something that's going to work and be good for our people, and that's what's happening. We're getting some really cool stuff. So, Ball Ground is kind of like the new 90210, except we're doing it the right way. We're doing it with good folks.
Well, I mean,
Good
you're
folks.
able to watch other cities, their progress, and what they did right and what they did wrong.
Mhm.
That's helpful.
Now we're going to be in an event. What day is it? The 16th, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tell me about that.
Well, Jennifer Anglin, who owns Alpha Insurance in Canton, invited us to her. She's sponsoring a table
Mhm.
at the Oak Leaf Listening Room in Canton. And apparently her daughter and her husband own a music promotions company. And they're working with the city of Canton to provide a music venue for the city.
Okay. Yep. Okay, guys, we want to remind you about an event that's going to happen in Canton, and how do people get involved in this? It's basically listening to cool music.
Well, it's a venue where they have young, not necessarily young, performers who write their own music. You apply with these people, and I would have to get the information, at a later date. But if you write music and perform music, you apply. They choose 5 different people to perform. And then at the end of these 5 performances, I don't know if it's like a American Idol kind of thing, and by applause, whoever wins gets another little bit of time to perform. And Jennifer Anglin, who had invited us, had said that normally it's a mixture of music, blues, country, folk, I guess contemporary, whatever. It is just
And I'm thinking Lindsay Beth Harper needs to do that because she writes a lot of her own stuff.
Well, the whole purpose is to give the people of Canton a venue to listen to music that's not a bar. Because there's a lot of people that love to go and listen to music, but not in a bar setting with the alcohol and sometimes the rowdiness.
Right.
So that's what, that atmosphere is. Now, they do sell soft drinks and water, I think.
So how do you find out about this? How do you, you'll get us information?
Yeah, I know they call it the Oak Leaf Listening Room.
Okay.
And it's pretty new, and they're, testing the waters.
Well, we'll let y'all know because we're going February the 16th.
That's right.
Just to hang out and see what we think. And I'm a little bit opinionated about music. I don't like some of it. I'm kind of choir, as my granny had called me. I just like certain things.
Does that mean you don't want to hear my rap performance?
No, I don't like rap music. So, well, it's time for us to wrap it up, and we might be going somewhere to have lunch.
Well,
We
thank
might
you for
be.
having me today.
Yeah,
I was
it
kind of.
fun. She was nervous about doing it and not doing a Bible verse, and I said, "Oh no, honey, we got plenty to talk about. There's so much going on in the world. Y'all pray that our world comes together, and we just get together and work as one."
Well,
Wouldn't that be cool?
There's so much good happening. Let's focus on the good.
Yep.
And help it get gooder.
That's right. Let's make it gooder. We'll see you again on Monday. It's going to be a fantastic weekend up in the 70s. So stay out, have fun.
It's getting cold again.
I know that, but isn't it going to be warm through Saturday? Oh my gosh,
so.
back to the hoodies. All right. We'll see you again on Monday, y'all. Bye. Okay, for you guys that are with us on YouTube, don't forget, the Tunnels to Towers, $11 a month. It is a great way to give back. It is a great way to make a difference in the family and the life of children and wives left, or sometimes the mom got killed. You know, we had a female police officer killed recently, and I think she left a son. So there are so many police officers who, you know, you're 30 years old, you're not prepared for your mortgage to be paid off at your death. You just don't plan your death. So,
Well, if you're smart, you do.
yeah, true.
Unbu did.
Yep.
Thank you, Unbu.
Yep, that's
Thank you,
right.
Lord.
But Tunnels to Towers is something I want you to check out. It's $11 a month for you to become a contributor and to give back and to give to others and to make a difference in the world. So,
Yep.
and if you know, when you think about what is $11 a month, not much.
You can't do it all, but you can do a little.
That's right. And I was so excited when we saw that this police officer who passed away Christmas, they've already raised the money to pay his home off. They've already raised the $50,000 to put aside for his son's education. And not to make light of that, but $50,000 won't get you an education today. But you know,
And a 300 and whatever house in California. That's not a big
it's a
house
small
in
house.
California.
Yeah.
So
But it's
what a
paid
blessing.
for. Yeah. What a blessing. And to do for others, and that's what it's about. You know, when we think of Valentine's Day coming up, doing for others means doing something for somebody you love, and it doesn't have to be your sweetie, it can be your granny.
But it
So
has
do
to be
something for everybody.
chocolate.
That's right. Bye, y'all.